Welcome back to the Piano Forum series. This is a video series where we really encourage you to ask all kinds of piano-related questions. On the last episode of this series, you guys asked all kinds of awesome questions, and I'm super excited to see what questions you come up with this time. Today's video is going to be all about tuning your piano, and we're also going to be discussing what physically happens to your piano when you tune it. Let's get started. When a piano is really out of tune, and you decide to go through it and tune it, what is happening is as you're moving up the piano and adding tension to these strings, the strings that you have already tuned are beginning to lose tension and begin to go flat again. Which is why when a piano tuner comes out and decides to tune a piano that is really out of tune, they will perform what is known as a pitch raise, and there are a couple of ways of going about a pitch raise. One way to do a pitch raise is to tune the piano just a little bit sharp, so that as the strings that you've already tuned go flat, they return to where the note should be. So example, like an A might, if you tune it up a half step and it falls down, it'll land on an A instead of going to an A flat. So then when you're done with the piano, it'll be mostly in tune. But the issue with that is, as the strings fall down in tension, they won't usually line up in unison. So you'll play a note and the three strings won't be playing quite the same frequency, so it'll sound funny. Another way of doing a pitch raise is that the technician will tap the bridge pins to get the speaking part of the string and the non-speaking part of the string, which is behind the bridge pins, to get a balance, and that will help the piano stay in tune. When the non-speaking part of the string and the speaking part of the string, when they're not balanced quite right, the piano will have a higher tendency of going out of tune. This here is a simple instrument tuner from Seiko. Korg also makes one that's about $29.95, somewhere thereabouts. And these are really great tools to have for the piano owner. Now, these tuners do have some limitations. They will not tune the extreme low bass or the extreme high treble, and they also will not do a stretch. So if you have a really high quality piano, you wouldn't want to use one of these to actually tune the piano, because your piano won't quite sound right. However, if you have a simpler piano that perhaps has a couple of notes out, or say you just bought a piano and the whole thing is going a little bit flat, and before you call the tuner out, you can run through most of the piano with this, bring it up roughly to pitch, and then therefore your piano tuner won't have to do as much work, and that will actually save you some money. So let's talk about how you'd actually go about tuning the piano, and even though C4, middle C, is in tune, I'll still show you how it would work. So basically, you have these two mutes, and middle C has three strings. So what you'd want to do is go through here and mute the string on the left by putting the mute through the second and third strings, and then you can play the note and see what the tuner says. Perfect. Now let's take the mute and put it in the left hand two strings so that the right string is playing. Also good. Now let's take the middle string, which I haven't done anything with yet, and make that one play by taking the two mutes and muting the right string and the left string. That one did a little flicker there, so it might need a slight tune, but as a whole, the piano sounds fine. And that's basically how you would go through and tune your piano. And the great thing about this tuner is you can just go right up the piano, quickly adapts to the next note that you're going to play, and it works very well for a basic piano tune. Before we move on to talk about other methods of tuning the piano, let's first talk about tuning hammers. We have two of them here. This one here is one that we've had for many years. It's a pretty high quality tuning hammer. It can extend so that you can have more leverage, and it's got this plastic handle down here. And this is it's a traditional tuning hammer. We bought it many years ago, and over the years we've had quite a few different iterations of tuning hammers. And let me just put this back here. There we go. One of our favorite tuning hammers, though, is this one over here. It's got this nice rosewood handle. When you pick it up, it feels hefty, and it's nice. And we had it for many, many years. We bought it off of a piano technician and tuner who was retiring, and this was in his, his set of tools. And we've had it for many years. We never really knew much about it, but when I was doing some research for the video, I looked up the brand name, which is Watanabe, and it turns out it's a $300 tuning hammer, which is amazing. This one here is only about $119, but it does the job just as well. Now let's talk about how we tune our piano. This is a Sanderson A2NOR3, and technicians and tuners have been using these for years, so have we. We started off with an earlier model Sanderson AccuTuner, but this one works incredibly well. It's been very reliable, and it does an excellent job of tuning our pianos. So let me show you how it works here. First of all, we've got a power button over here, turn it on. Then you can go to the tune button here, and then you have, did I hit that? I think so, yeah. Then you have pages. And so basically how this works is it's a little bit different from the other. So you have this manuscript basically that has all of these pianos that have custom stretches for each of these pianos. So like it starts off here with like Baldwin's, and it goes from the Acrosonic, which is their teeny little spinet, all the way up to the Baldwin. Actually, the SD10's not on the list. Oh, there it is. It's slightly out of order there. But there's the SF10, the SD10. It goes all through the whole range of Baldwins. We have a Steinway Concert Grand D. So you'd want to go down here, find Steinway D, 9 foot, and that would be page 138. Once you know what page you would want to go to, you would use the page button, and you could simply hold it down. And as you can see, the number on the right is going up. I'm going to wait until it gets, there we go, 137 and 138. Now when you first turn on the tuner, it will go to A0, which is the lowest key on the piano, but I want to tune C4. So what I'm going to do is go up with the octave key, the octave button, so 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to use the note key to hop up to C4. Let's check out and see how it sounds. Really good. The lights on the circular pattern of lights here is indicating how the note is aging. And basically the LEDs will spin depending on whether the note is going sharp or going flat. If it's going flat, the LED lights will spin to the left, and if it's going sharp, the lights will spin to the right, and the middle light will also blink while it's spinning if it's going sharp. Now to tune the individual strings, you would do it the exact same way that you would with the other tuner. You would use your mutes, and you would start off by perhaps muting the left string or the right string, whichever you prefer doing first. I like doing the left string. And you look at that one, see how it's doing. You make adjustments to it if necessary. You could do the right string, do the same thing, and then do the middle string, just like before. It's very simple and quite easy to do. There you go. That's using the Sanderson AccuTuner. Now I'm going to attempt to answer the age-old question of how often should you tune your piano? This is a question that I'm sure countless piano tuners and technicians have heard over the years, and honestly everyone gives a different answer. Some people say every 3 months, some people say every 6 months, or once a year, or even once every 2 years if you have a really good piano. But the truth is, you should tune your piano as often as possible in order to keep it right in tune. You noticed here when I played the notes, the dials like never moved, and that's because we tune the piano almost constantly, just like it would be if it was on a concert stage. Anytime for a concert piano, anytime it's going to be going out, they give it a tune, even if it's almost perfectly in tune. They want to make sure that it is as perfect as possible before going out and having some famous pianist play on it. And that is how you should treat your own piano as well. Tune it up all the time, especially if you're tuning your own piano, because then it won't actually cost you any money every time you tune the piano. If you notice one note is going out, like say I notice, oh, this C6 way up here is out, tune it up. Just take off the music desk, set up the tuner, tune it up. It takes about 5 minutes to tune a single note, and then you're done. And it's really easy, and tuning your piano all the time like that makes it sound great all the time. One final thing I would like to talk about is how the tuners, and when I say the tuners I mean the actual device of the tuner, recognizes the piano keys and the pitches of the notes. Because it is a little bit confusing for some people, especially when you think about that the piano tuner considers this note, and this note to be 0, all the way up until you get here. Then this note becomes C1, and every note in the octave of C is considered 1. So this would be G1, or this would be A1, or this would be E1. So everything in that octave is considered 1 until you get here. This is the second C on the keyboard from the left, which means this is C2. And from that point, everything in this octave would be considered 2. So this would be F sharp 2, or this would be A sharp 2, all the way up until you get to this point. And now you probably get the idea. This would be C3. Everything in this region would be considered 3, so this would be F3 or D sharp 3. Then this would be C4. Everything in that octave would be considered a 4, so, you know, B4 or E4. And then here would be C5. Everything in that octave would be a 5. C6, everything here would be a 6. And this is C7, and everything in this octave would be considered a 7 until you reach C8, which is the final key on the piano. Hopefully you found this video very informative and helpful. Now, as I said at the beginning of this video, if you have any questions about this video, the content I talked about in the video, or pianos in general, make sure to leave those questions down in the comment section below, because it's very helpful, because not only will your question get answered, but anyone else who might have the same question can go down and read the comment section, and perhaps the question will be answered for themselves. So make sure to leave your questions in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video of the Piano Forum series.